You can always become a state. And if you're a state, we won't have a deficit. We won't have to tariff you, et cetera, et cetera. But Canada has been very tough to deal with.
If Canada wants to remain an independent country, we are going to have to make major changes to how we run our economy, or we'll become the 51st state. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. Donald Trump was making a speech to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, room packed with some of the biggest CEOs in the world, with other world leaders, and he made this, well, a few different threats to Canada. One was direct, one was indirect. Here's what he had to say to these world leaders about Canada becoming the 51st state.
We have a tremendous deficit with Canada. We're not going to have that anymore. We can't do it. I don't know if it's good for them. As you probably know, I say you can always become a state. And if you're a state, we won't have a deficit. We won't have to tariff you, et cetera, et cetera. But Canada has been very tough to deal with over the years. And it's not fair that we should have a $200 billion or $250 billion deficit. We don't need them to make our cars, and they make a lot of them. We don't need their lumber because we have our own forests, et cetera, et cetera. We don't need their oil and gas. We have more than anybody.
Okay, so that is the direct threat. That is the become a state or we're going to tariff you. And by the way, we don't need your oil. They do. We don't need your car parts. Well, they kind of still do right now, but what if they cut us out? We are facing major threats from Trump. The indirect threats are as big as the direct threat. He is promising to do complete deregulation of American industry. He's throwing out all kinds of green regulations. He's promising to lower the corporate tax rate below the 21% it's at now, but only if you manufacture in America. Anybody that doesn't manufacture in America is going to get a tariff. He's talking about fast tracking approvals for energy plants, whether it's wind or solar or coal, even natural gas, electricity generation. He's going to unleash oil and gas exploration and exports. Same with liquefied natural gas. This guy's going to set the American economy on fire in a good way for Americans. Now, how are we going to compete with that? We've got a liberal government headed by Justin Trudeau and people like Chrystia Freeland who want to lead it now, or Mark Carney, who was advising him, who have taken us in exactly the opposite direction that Trump's going in. And people like Melanie Joly and Anita Anand, current cabinet ministers, saying we should embrace our natural resource economy and diversify trade. They've spent years making sure that couldn't happen. Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines bill, blocking Northern Gateway, Energy East, Energy Saguenay, not approving LNG export terminals. Meanwhile, on domestic business, regulation upon regulation upon regulation, making it much more difficult and more expensive to do business in this country. If we're going to fight back against Trump, it can't just be, putting tariffs on what they bring in. We're going to have to make our economy more dynamic. Do you really trust Carney or Freeland, the people who got us into this mess or advised us to get into this mess, to be the ones in charge? We're going to have to fundamentally change. And the people that got us into this mess can't be the ones to get us out because they don't believe in what Trump is doing. But what he is doing and pushing forward with will unleash the American economy while Trudeau leaves us shackled to a failed way of thinking. And changing the leader at the top of the Liberal Party isn't going to change how they operate. We really needed an election before Donald Trump came in. And this speech at Davos, his actions with executive orders this week, really shows why we are in trouble without major change. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.